Allegra and Grüezi. Where I come from, this is where we say hello. So welcome to the presentation of this afternoon. My passion is management. My passion is management in turbulent times. Okay, I've documented this in my book. So anybody that's interested to read about this, this is about the performance triangle, and that's the story that I will walk you through this afternoon. I will make it somewhat interactive, as you will just see here. I will have some questions to you. Let's get started with the first set of questions to you. This is a game I'm doing with you. Imagine the following. You have gone to sleep 30 years ago in your current job. You have gone to sleep 30 years ago in your current job, and zack, you wake up now, today, in this room here. The question to you is, what has changed in the meantime? Okay? First of all, have people changed in the organization? Their desires, what they want, what they do, how they work. Second, has the organization changed? The way we work in organizations. Third, have the interests of the owners of organizations changed? Have they different needs, different ways of dealing with businesses? Third, has the environment changed in the last 30 years? Last, has management changed? Okay. And I'm pretty sure that you have made up your minds from very small changes to very big changes. And I give you the average right now from what I'm hearing most of the time when I ask these questions. And what you will notice is an interesting pattern here. Most of the things in this world have changed a lot, with one exception. Management is still very much like it was 50 years ago. We still do the same things. We manage in a boardroom. It's kind of a wooden desk in there, an oval desk, nice pictures on the walls. We meet once a week or once a month and discuss the issues. These kind of things haven't changed in the past a lot, whereas the entire world that we work in has changed dramatically. I remember when I did my studies, I was likely one of the first students that actually had a computer on my desk. And it wasn't a Macintosh, it was the other one that was available at that time. Today, most of us have these tools available. So, quite dramatic changes. The way we deal with employees in our organizations is totally different than 30 years ago. The way how we organize is very differently. The needs of stakeholders is much more short-term than it was ever before. So you see my story. Okay? The story simply is that I think there is a need to change the way we manage our organizations. And that's what I will walk you through today. I'll show you how to think about it and what you can do about it. Because HR has a central role in this conversation to play with. Okay? So, I'm taking you through some thoughts here. Okay? First of all, I'm taking you through a question about the environment here. I give you again a choice of two things. Is the environment that you are in your businesses, is it a stable environment or is it a dynamic environment? When I talk about the environment, I talk about the complexity, the volatility in your business. I'm talking about the ambiguities of signals. So the question to you is, are you more on the upper scale in your businesses or down? Let's take a vote here. Those that think we are more in a dynamic world, hands up. Those that think we are in a very stable world, hands up. I think it's pretty clear what we're seeing here. The next way to look at an organization, this is the response to it. How do we manage an organization? And I give you two choices. And of this side is control, and this side is enabling. What I mean is the way we engage our employees, the way we coordinate work, the way we set goals, the way we change, or the way we make decisions here. Enabling means we build engagement based on self-responsibility rather than telling people what they should be doing. Okay? So the question to you is, where are you as an organization? Are you more on the enabling side, which is this side, or on the controlling side? So who is on this side here? Hands up. Who is more on this side here? Hands up. I think we have clear majorities here. So what you're all saying is, when I kind of put this picture together into a matrix here, what you're saying is most of our businesses are quite dynamic and we feel we are in an enabling type environment. So let's draw this further on. That's where you see yourself. Okay? Most of us organize the way we manage at work with tools. KPIs is one of those things. We manage with detailed KPIs. We have 3 to 5 year strategies, plans. We do budgets, management by objectives. We do annual risk profiles. Is this not what you do at work? Is this how your managers, yourself, manage your businesses? Hands up for those that actually do those things. Yeah, I guess there are some of us that do those things. Let me give you another choice here. No, not the choice first. What I gave you today is the tools that most of us have used in the past for what we call the stable environment. Okay? Those are all the tools that work well in a stable environment. They don't work at all when it comes to dynamic times. Management by objectives is incapable of dealing with moving targets and with change. Okay? For those that want to know the detail, I can talk about it for a day tomorrow, if you want me to. Give you another choice here. I'm pretty sure that many of your organizations work in the sense that leaders decide. You do a lot of training with employees because you assume that employees need to be trained. You have job descriptions. You work with bonus programs, incentive stuff here, and so on here. You motivate people. You know now the story here, so I'm not stressing you. This is old times. This is what organizations have done in the past to work in a controlled environment. In today's environment, you cannot motivate people to get done. You can assume that people are motivated per se. Self-responsibility is the absolute source of motivation here. So most managers actually in businesses demotivate. So this is old times. Forget about that. If you are in the kind of environment that you said you would be. So what we have, in my mind, we have kind of a situation where you say you actually are up here, but actually when I give you the tools, most of your managerial toolbox resides on this quadrant down here, on the stable and control environment. Okay? This is about the same as if you would have to undergo surgery, and you go into the hospital, and the only tool that the medical doctor has to do a surgery with you is a screwdriver and a hammer. Okay? This is about how we manage our businesses in a dynamic and enabling time. So it's the wrong tools that we're actually using for the situation that we are in. So that's kind of where we are, and now the question is, what can we do about it? These boxes have names here, and kind of the old box is what I called the rule types, the controlling types way of managing organizations, and on the upper right is what I call capabilities. It's the entire competency view of management for those that are interested in the science of all of that. And to quote, or no, let's not quote first, what this actually means is the following. That's the assumption that we are making in today's business world. That first of all, knowledge is a scarce resource. That's the only scarce resource that you have in a business. Okay? A scarce resource means essentially not money, but it's the human capital that you have available. Okay? Second thing is that modern people work differently, purpose inspires, and the way we change in business is totally different. The change has changed. Okay? So do you see what I'm doing here? I'm quoting Peter Drucker here, saying essentially that 90% of what we call management today is making it difficult for people to actually do work. So imagine that kind of a work environment for employees. I think that's what we need to change. That's the time that requires change. Okay? So, is there hope? Yes, there is hope. For those that know Vienna, just close by, this little village on this side, there is always in November the well-known Trucker Forum, the Global Trucker Forum. And the Global Trucker Forum issues a book list of the things that you should read in order to know how to manage organizations for modern times. I was extremely lucky that my book was listed on the critical book list here, and together with a very nice list of other books here. So I'm quite excited. If you want to read about these stories here, dig into those books here. It's all there. So we know how to do things going forward. And if I distill the important things out of all of these books, I'm coming to a relatively simple concept, and this is a concept about what we call ability to act. Ability to act includes speed in an organization, resilience, and agility. Those are the three ingredients. What I will do now is I will walk you through what these ingredients are and how you can get there. Okay? And this is where we get into what we call the performance triangle. Speed in any business resides with employees. Okay? If you agree with an employee that tomorrow we do something different, then if the two of you agree, then essentially you can do things differently. So you're extremely fast in doing things in the business here. Only when you have annual objectives, when you have MBO stuff, and first you have to renegotiate your personal objectives because they don't fit the situation anymore, you're slow. So if you want to have speed in an organization, it always resides with the employees, and it's your choice on how to manage your employees in a way that enables speed. Second, agility. Agility means I can anticipate things that change. I can anticipate an environment shift, a client needs shift here early in advance. There are three things that influence the agility. One is culture, second it's leadership, and third is managerial systems. So those are the three elements that essentially enable an organization to be agile. Next one is what we call resilience. Resilience means three things. First of all, it requires people to collaborate within and to the outside of the organization in the best way. Resilience asks for purpose. When people have purpose in what they do, external shocks actually don't matter at all. Third, then you have people with relationships within the organization and to the outside. That's something you cannot destroy. So resilience requires three things: collaboration, purpose, and relationships. And that adds up to what we call the performance triangle. So the performance triangle helps you to think about speed, agility, and resilience in an organization. Okay? We add that up to what we call the concept of the ability to act, and essentially it's the capacity, the capability of an organization to always change without having to change. So it's the capability for ongoing change. And that is what you need to have when you have volatility, complexity, uncertainty, and ambiguity in the external environment, which is certainly what most businesses are in today. There is a different way of looking at ability to act, and this goes as follows. And I'm using here a simple formula from Timothy Galway that has kind of written the books about the inner game of tennis, inner game of golf here. And he says that performance or the ability to act is the potential minus interferences. Potential minus interferences. Very simple formula, but it's extremely powerful. So we need to look at, when we look at the ability to act, at two things. There are two things we can change in an organization. We can work on the potential, or we can work on the interferences. Okay? So let's take that into the performance triangle. A model like the triangle is only as good as what you do with it. Okay? So more interesting is where is our potential and where are interferences in our triangle. And the way we do that, or the way we measure it, is with a diagnostic tool. What I have for you here is kind of a 5-question thing here. Okay? So what we have is management teams that actually go through this diagnostic tool between 30 and about 120 questions online, and then we feed back these results in the performance triangle. So we give them the triangle with the results on success, on culture, on creativity, on systems, and on leadership. All of these things that I just mentioned to you. This is an example of a small startup firm with kind of inexistent managerial systems, leadership that is so okay, we call it busy. Leadership is busy with emails rather than talking to people. That's kind of what we're seeing here. A culture that is highly developed with a staff that is highly creative here. So we can use this tool in order to think about ability to act and agility. This is when it comes out of our diagnostic computer. That's what the results look like then. Kind of get scores here on the entire triangle, and you can start interpreting triangle with respect to speed, agility, and resilience. Okay, so let me summarize that up. When things change fast, when you have volatility, ambiguity, and complexity in an organization, it is important to understand that your competency and capability of an organization is the only thing that can help you actually deal with this. It needs ability to act. So this is this thing here with speed, agility, and resilience, and we have the performance triangle as the tool to review how well we are doing in an organization. This now brings me to what I'm doing, what kind of my work is, and that's what we call diagnostic mentoring. So we work with leadership teams to actually help them understand how well they do with respect to the external environment, whether their organization is built for speed, for agility, and for resilience. This is an organizational diagnostic, it's not an individual diagnostic, so we look at whether the organization has built everything it needs to have in order to do that. There's about 6 different tools that we use in order to do that, and we have a global network of diagnostic mentors that work with leadership teams in helping them to understand these results and then work towards a solution of it. We use that scientifically, so the performance triangle includes actually quite some scientific results, stuff that we found out during those 10 to 12 years that we actually work with these tools here. So we know exactly what industries perform to what extent on the performance triangle. We know the culture in the financial industry as compared to the culture in a manufacturing or consumer industry. We know the whole thing with respect to the size of organizations here. And this is very interesting insights for our clients to understand. So anyway, that is kind of the product coming to the end. For those that are interested, we are running around the globe every now and then what we call the Insights Day. So it's an entire day where we work through all of this material, including diagnostic, the masterclass for consultants, for advisors that want to license that type of technology. And coming to the end, we are the 2 of us here. If you want to talk to us, you talk either to Ida, is up front here, or you talk to myself. For all of you, I have something with me here. I think it's here. You can participate at the lucky draw for the book if you sign up at the website down here with your name and address. Then you're part of a lucky draw, and I'll send you a book as fast as possible. The second thing is I have a paper tool here that you can use in your organization very practically, more than happy to hand that out to anybody of you for the exchange of a business card afterwards. That's what I have to say. That's all about speed, agility and resilience as a means to deal with a turbulent environment in organizations. Leave it up to you.
Hello. I would like to ask just briefly, how do you consider the differences in, for example, your advice, how to manage? If I'm as a manager working in a different cultural or historic environment, I mean the big difference between people from the Eastern Bloc and the people from the Western Bloc will be definitely different. So in what means should I consider advice coming from managerial advice, how should I consider this to be valid in my cultural environment?
Diagnostic mentoring is not giving advice. So what we are doing is we diagnose with you your organization, and then we take the results and we walk you through your interpretation of the results. So it's not me as a diagnostic mentor that interprets your results, it's actually me helping you for you to interpret your results. So results are always relative to the environment that you're working in. And yes, we know that the Eastern way of managing is very different as compared to the Western way of managing it. This is kind of our normal type of work. We know about that here. So we have that conversation, and that's kind of the interesting stuff about it here. But we are kind of like neutral, like the Swiss, we are neutral here. So I come and help you to think through it. It's your task to think, it's not my task. So that's how we deal with it.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? If not,
everything clear?
Everything later. You are staying with us. For a few.
I will be around.
Okay, so you can have a look in the book, and maybe you can try to make the exchange for business card to get the free version of Insights 2.
Very good, thank you.
And thank you for your presentation, Mr. Michel, and
you too.
Pleasure for us to have you here with us. Thank you.